Hi, everyone. David Aragona and Mike Beer here taking a look at the feature race at Saratoga on Saturday. Race 9 on their 12 race card is the Grade 1 Christophe Clement Turf. This race, formerly known as the Sword Dancer, but renamed this year in honor of trainer Christophe Clement, who was always a stalwart on this turf scene at the highest level Minaret tracks. And they gave him the honor of naming the Sword Dancer the Christophe Clement Turf. And Mike, the first running of it as the Christophe Clement came up a really nice field. 7 runners, and you could make a case for all of them to win this race.
Yeah, you can. This is a great race, and I certainly one where I feel like they're all in such good form, David, that it just feels like trips are probably going to be the deal breaker here. Who gets the best trip in this race?
Yeah, you've got 3 horses coming out of the local prep for this, the Bowling Green. They all hit the wire together, so kind of sorting which one was going to take the most money. Tough task for me making the morning line, Mike. I ended up going with the number 6 Minaret Station as the slight morning line favorite at 3-1 because I think some handicappers might feel like he was the one that was a little unlucky last time, but it's not like whoever goes favorite in this race is going to have much of an edge.
Yeah, I can't see anybody being a super short price in this race. It just feels like this money's got to get spread around a little bit. Again, everybody's in good form here. It feels like they all have a top race that's going to make them really tough in here. And yeah, we'll talk about that Bowling Green a little bit more as we go on.
Well, let's start to go through this field from the rail out, beginning with the number 1 Ancient Egypt, an intriguing runner in this race because he is a 3-year-old facing off against older horses, something that you rarely see happen in this country, basically on any surface in August, but especially with turf horses. They typically point to races against their own age group, but Ancient Egypt is going to take on the older runners shipping from overseas after having just missed in a Group 1 at Longchamp in the middle of July. So, Mike, this horse has gotten into really good form during his 3-year-old season. Didn't run well in the Epsom Derby 3 starts back, but probably didn't love the softer going that day. His surrounding 3 races are all good. It seems like he's improving with every race. And unlike a lot of European shippers, when you watch his races over there, he's got a decent amount of early speed.
Yeah, that's what I liked about him. He's got the rail here, and it feels like he's going to get the right kind of trip in this race because first of all, he's a really good gate horse. He gets out of the gate really well in his races, and then he likes to race forward. He doesn't need to be on the lead, but he likes to race forward. And if somebody else is really set on having the front, I think that was the case in that most recent Grade 1 at Longchamp. He went forward there. Another horse in that race just decided he wanted the lead. They actually went pretty fast in there. This horse ran great last time. Just sort of getting nailed there in a blanket finish at the end. His overall form is really good. The only thing that held me back here, David, is he's shipping into a race here again against some older horses, some good older horses, and they're all in great form. It's not like he's shipping over and finding a really easy spot here.
And it's not like he's getting some huge weight break. Only 4 pounds from his older rivals. We'll see if that's enough of an advantage for this 3-year-old stepping up. But he's in good form too, Mike. I mean, the rivals are in good form, but this horse is in the best form of his career. And I love how game he's been in his recent races. I know he's lost both by short margins, but he fights back when horses come to him. He's a pretty a gritty 3-year-old. It's going to be interesting to see how he hangs with these older runners. The number 2, Tawny, he's a 7-year-old. He's been around for a while, and he's been good for a long time too. Coming off a graded stakes win, but that was going the 2-mile distance in the Belmont Gold Cup. We'll take a look at the stretch run of this race, Mike. And he's a horse who got a very good trip from Flavien Prat on this day, did a good job saving ground early around these 4 turns of this 2-mile affair. And he's able to sneak through on the inside of his main rival at the top of the stretch to win going away at the end. He's stepping up against a much tougher field here, but boy, would it be a feel-good story if the son of Christophe Clement, the namesake of this race, Miguel Clement, was able to win the first running since it's been renamed.
Yeah, exactly. I think a lot of people will be rooting for him just for that. Listen, this is a good performance. It's a totally different kind of race. That Belmont Gold Cup's a totally different kind of race. It was just nice to see. His form has been good anyway. And for him I think he hadn't won a race in almost 3 years going into that. Just to see him not only to win it, but just to win it as easily as he did. I mean, he always looked like he was going to win that race all the way around the track. And he did. It was just a really solid performance from this horse.
We mentioned that the Bowling Green was kind of the key local prep for this Christophe Clement Turf. We'll take a look at the number 3, Old Crazy Bow next. He was the winner of the Bowling Green and narrowly holding on in the late stage. We'll take a look at the stretch run of that race, highlighting the 3 horses that are coming out of this Bowling Green into the Christophe Clement Turf. Kind of in finishing order here, Old Crazy Bone is the one in the pink silks on the lead. For George, chasing him right to the outside, and you're going to see Minaret Station sneak through on the inside. He'll be closing at them late. Like, a lot was made of the fact that coming to the wire in this race, Flavien Prat, who was on Old Crazy Bone this day, eases up for maybe a couple of strides approaching the finish line, and it gets very close on the wire. So, maybe if he had kept riding to the finish, this horse might have held on by a head or a neck. Who knows? But I don't think that really took away from his performance at all. Oh, Crazy Bone got a very good trip on this day, leading throughout. The pace wasn't that fast. He dug in to hold off those horses. He's a horse who kind of makes his own good trips because he led last time, but he's not a need the lead type. So I think if some of the European horses decide to get aggressive early, Irad's going to be fine to stalk off those leaders, maybe in the pocket in third.
Yeah, that's what I liked about him. He's so handy. Like last time that race played out, the Bowling Green played out exactly how it looked on paper. There was no pace in the race. He had the rail. So you just kind of figured going in that they were just going to put him on the lead. And they did. And he had a really good trip in that race. He kind of was allowed to cut his own pace there. It was about the 5/16 pole. That's when Fort George came after him. They were dueling from there. My opinion, and maybe it doesn't matter in this case, Fort George was never going by this horse. Old Crazy Bone was always holding him to the wire there. And I just thought it was another good performance for a horse who's run nothing but good races since Mike Maker claimed him. And your other point to me is the more important one, David. Maybe the pace will be different here. They're just going to take him off it. And he's maybe even better that way. He's run some huge races from off the pace for Maker. So I don't know. Trips don't really matter to me with him. He's in great form right now. I'll be honest, I was a little surprised that he was entered here because I don't really think winning a Grade 1 means that much to him. And I just figured they would have that Kentucky Downs Turf Cup on their minds again, which that race is coming up pretty soon. But maybe they're going to run in both because this horse is going good right now.
That's a good point, Mike. I would not be surprised if they do point to that race because as a gelding, he's a horse who would want to take down that lucrative pop. But Mike Maker, he's run horses back on short rest before, so I wouldn't be shocked if they run this horse in both races. The number 4 is Program Trade. Again, we should point out, Mike, Flavien Prat certainly had his pick of options in this race because he rode 4 of these horses to graded stakes wins in their last starts, and he lands on Program Trading here. Probably no surprise given his relationship with the Chad Brown barn. Program Trading, a horse that seemed like he kind of lost his way when he came off the long layoff in the middle of 2025, had trouble getting back to the winner's circle, but he got that confidence boost too back winning against a weaker field in the Monmouth Cup, and they tried him going longer last time. We'll take a look at this United Nations, and the trip worked out. It wasn't the toughest field I've ever seen lined up in the United Nations, Mike, but it did seem like the added distance maybe worked for Program Trading. He could be a new horse with a future going longer now. Yeah,
I like that about him too. I think that is a valid way to look at him and just say they've finally gotten him stretched all the way out, and maybe this is going to be his future. Maybe he's going to be a real force in this division going longer. He ran pretty well there in the UN. It's a totally different kind of racer. He's facing a way better field here. So I'm just going to make him prove it, but I don't think I'd be shocked if he did.
No, he's a horse who definitely has to prove it against tougher competition. And maybe there was a major no-show last time when Just the Touch, who was the co-favorite in this race, didn't run his A race. So I think that made it an easier spot for Program Trading, but this is going to be a pivotal race for him. The number 5, Fort George, he was the narrow loser of the Bowling Green last time, lunging late at Old Crazy Bone, but falling a nose short on that occasion. Mike, of the 3 horses coming out of the race, I thought that maybe Fort George had the second most difficult trip because he was just in that position where he was stalking Old Crazy Bone every step of the way, sort of applying pressure. And he had to make that early run on the far turn, trying to go after that foe. They really picked up the pace and sort of, the penultimate eighth of a mile. And then maybe that left them vulnerable to Old Crazy Bone holding on at the end. But I thought Fort George put forth a really good effort. He was coming off a bit of a layoff. Now he's making his second start in the country. He's got good tactical speed, and maybe he would fly under the radar again a little bit.
Yeah, I think he probably will. Yeah, I'm with you on the trip that he pulled last time too, because it's just not it's an unenviable position to be in when not only are you stalking a really good horse and an informed horse, but Old Crazy Bone they were ready for this. Pratt was just waiting. When is this horse going to come for me? And when he does, I'm going to be ready for that move. And he was ready when this horse came for him. And Fort George just couldn't fight by him. But we talked about this horse in the preview for the Bowling Green we did, David. He was in great form early this year overseas. And I thought it was, pretty good sign for him that he ran as well as he did in the Bowling Green.
Yeah, like a lot of European horses, he was kind of struggling with his lead changes and upper stretch. He was hanging on his left lead. When he switched over to the right lead at the very end, that's kind of when he found that extra burst to lunge at Old Crazy Bone. It's going to be interesting to see if he's a little more professional in his second U.S. start. The number 6, Minaret Station, I think a lot of people are going to feel that maybe he was the unlucky one in the Bowling Green, and I don't really have an argument against that, Mike, because they weren't going that quickly up front. Old Crazy Bone got a big breather on the front end into that middle quarter mile from the half-mile pole to the three-quarter fractions. traction, and it just made the leaders really tough to reel in. And Minaret Station, he was absolutely flying through the final eighth of a mile to just miss on that occasion. It's going to be interesting to see how much pace he gets here, because there are a couple of horses that can go forward, but they've got European speed. So I don't think they're going to be flying up front in this race either.
Yeah, it feels like another slow-paced race is on tap here. We'll see how it all shakes out early. I'm with you on the anybody who tells me that they wanted this horse out of the Bowling Green. I'm fine with that. I don't have a real argument against it. I think the one thing that is starting to bother me about Minaret Station now is it's 3 races in a row that he's done the same thing. And I don't know if you agree with this. It's 2 races at Churchill. One was a mile and 16th, a mile and 3/8 last time. And all 3 of them, he just gets going too late, and he's making up ground at the very end of the race, and it's already too late. He doesn't have time to get there. He's got to get himself kicked into gear a little bit sooner if he's going to run down these horses.
And rounding out this field is the number 7, Survie. She is a 5-year-old mare trying the males on this occasion, something she's done before. She's no stranger to running against the boys, so that's not a big concern with her, Mike. The fact that she's coming back on relatively short rest, though, for a horse who shipped from overseas, I think that's maybe the worry with Survie, if she's going to be able to put these 2 big efforts back to back, because no doubt she ran really well in her U.S. debut last time. We'll take a look at her winning this Glens Falls, where she just traveled like a winner every step of the way, a very confident ride from Flavien Prat sitting in mid-pack, even though they weren't going that quickly up front. And once he peels around about the 3/16 pole here, she kicks it into overdrive to run these horses down.
Yeah, it looks like this is maybe the difference here between European finishing speed and American finishing speed. She runs right over the top. Now, this field isn't nearly as good as the field that she's going to be meeting on Saturday, but that's a visually impressive win for a filly or a mare now who's got tons of backlash. She's held her own in some top European races on the go back, and that was a really strong performance less than 2 weeks ago. We'll see if she can back it up.
She is one of 3 horses that is losing Flavien Prat as the last out rider in this race, but Manny Franco, he has been riding great so far at this Saratoga meet. Let's go to our picks for this Grade 1 Christophe Clement Turf, and wide open race, Mike. Many ways to go. Where'd you land?
Yeah, this is a great race. I am going to go right back to Old Crazy Bone. I know that there are maybe some things working against him. I know that he had the best trip of those Bowling Green horses last time. I don't think that matters because he can get any kind of trip. Whatever, however they want to ride him and wherever they want to put him, he'll still run his race. I just like all of his turf races since Maker took over, David. I'm going to stick with this horse.
Yeah, I kind of thought he got the best trip with the 3 in the Bowling Green, but you're right. I mean, he shows up every time. He's a dangerous horse in this race, even though I left him out of my trifecta here. I put the number 5, Fort George, on top. I just thought he was the one that was in that tough chasing position last time, and he's got good tactical speed to not be compromised by a potential slow pace once again in this race. And I'm even intrigued by the 3-year-old, the number 1, Ancient Egypt. I've got him in the second spot. 5-1-6-3 for me and 3-7-6-4 for Mike in the Grade 1 Christophe Clement Turf, the feature race at Saratoga on Saturday. Good luck if you're playing the races this weekend.